Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm MP. We love the ocean, so we decided to make it our home by buying a massive wooden schooner, which is unfortunately sinking.
A lot of people believe our boat is doomed, but we refuse to settle on that thought, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to bring it back to its former glory.
Join us on this refurbishing journey and wish us luck.
If you're wondering what's happening to the boat build while MP and I are doing stuff inside or if we're somewhere else, the same thing. So there's two or three guys, Zeka, Elio and Nezo, actually building planks and installing planks. Then you've got Clayton and William, who are still busy drilling screws through the planks onto the frames. So also when some guys need help lifting a plank onto a boat, I'll go down and help, or I'll help put the clamp on from the inside, and also Clayton and William will help carry stuff. But while other stuff is being done, we just see if we can get other split up and do more work. So that drill that we're using to put these screws in has got so much torque. I know it's not made for this, but it works completely fine. And we've bodged together a little bit at the end to screw these in. I was using it the other day, and towards the end, the drill stayed where it was, and I was like spinning around it almost. It's got so much torque. So today we're actually using two people drilling it, so towards the end you can actually just squeeze that drill hard enough so the drill stops turning instead of spinning one of us around it. So I think this is one of the longest planks that's going on this boat. It's about 7.5 meters. It's going to go from here, which is, I'd say, about halfway, just about 5 meters before the stern, which is going to require one more plank. And then all that remains on both sides is the shutter plank, and the shutter plank actually goes in between the shear plank and the last plank that was put here, so there'll be a line. And it's going to be a difficult plank to place because it has to fit super nicely, and it's going to squeeze all the other planks together. So the starboard side is almost all closed. It's also still requiring 3 more planks before the shutter planks have to be put on. This port side is only requiring 2 more planks before the shutter planks.
Batidinha pra frente, rapaz. Vai. Dá uma batidinha pra frente, rapaz.
Eu tive sonho e acordei chorando, lágrimas de Oxalá, uma bênção, raios do luar, e lei, fé e fé e fá, reino dos orixás, reino dos orixás.
Ela tem a tortura e na tortura ela faz o desenho dela. Entendeu, galera? Ela tem a tortura bem aqui, ó. Aqui ela tem a tortura, faz o desenho dela aqui. Aí, agora pra você não entrar, Caio. Se liga.
So here on the port side, the hull has been planked, everything except for the shutter planks, which are the last planks that get inserted. Now that is the shear plank, the top one, which is called the cintado in Portuguese. And the one under it is called the contra cintado, which is still thicker than all the rest of the planks, but slightly thinner than the shear plank. And what it does is it squeezes a lot of these planks together by actually making it fit, like squeeze it in. So this side is actually done. We're still missing 2 boards or 2 planks on the inside of the frames to make the beam shelves. This plank that has just been cut is actually the beam shelf. We need 2 more parts of the beam shelf on the starboard side, and this is one of them. So it currently runs up to there. So this piece will probably run up to here. Then we just need 1 more beam shelf to go there. Who do we have over here? Who are you waving at? And everyone else on there who's watching you? So B's in there sorting out some issues or some doubts that we have about the engine. It's been made very correctly, but throughout the years it's been altered, but we're trying to make it as correct as possible, or redo the engine as correct as possible right now. So she's in there doing that, calling mechanics and people who know a lot about that stuff, while I'm here helping these guys.
It's the first time we're working on the engine since the transom's done, and I just realized. So we were here, I was really focused, and I looked back and I got a shock. It was so funny. And yeah, it shuts and it looks amazing. Seriously. So the frames are being sanded so they get ready to receive the new beam shelves. Yay!
Vou virar isso aqui pra lá, tá?
So the difficult thing about these beam shelves which are going all along the boat is the beam shelf has to be at a certain height on the frame, on every single frame, because each beam is going to be the same thickness, and this plank that goes along the inside is actually going to hold all the beams that are going to go across the deck. Now, if this beam shelf is slightly high on some frames, the beam is going to be sticking up too high, which is going to mean the deck isn't going to be flat, or it's also going to mean that we're going to have to just cut or make the beam thinner, which is also not good because we want the full thickness of this beam. So what is easy is actually just attaching or putting the plank, the beam shelf, against the frames. The hard thing is measuring it at every single frame, making sure it's high enough. So this has to be as high as there. You can even see the lines that have been drawn to make sure it's at the same height everywhere.
Só pra baixo.
Botar a mão na frente, né? Não, seca. Segura ali, cai.
So on a rainy day, it's very difficult to work on the boat because many reasons. The wood gets wet that we're working on. It's not nice to work in the rain, but separately from that, the tools also break in the rain because they get wet. So what happens is all the wood gets prepared here in the workshop. We've got 2 planks that are for beam shelves. On the other side, we've got 2 big pieces that are actually beams for in front, forwards of the foremast. I'm actually busy building some more beams. Some more wood has arrived for other parts of the boat, and we can already start preparing lots of the wood here so that when the rain stops, we just let stuff dry out a little bit, and then straight away everyone can get back to business on putting the wood that's been made here straight onto the boat. So no time is wasted still, so that's very cool. So if you have a look over here, the last second to last beam shelf over there is actually being nailed to the frames right now. Zeka and Elio in the workshop are busy cutting the last beam shelf, which goes slightly more back of this one, which will be against the transom. That's very cool because when the beam shelf is finished, we can start putting the beams on top, and on top of the beams come the deck and so on. So these shelves might not look like much and might be hidden, but they're actually very important. So we are super excited for that. So Zeka and Donino made a little ramp that goes from the crib up to this plank, and then you can cross and go from this plank, there he is, into the boat. Because all he does now that the hull is shut is he cries that he can't get inside the boat, and when he's in the boat and I leave, he cries because he can't get off the boat. So now he can actually climb on and off with a bit of balancing skills, but he can. So here you can see our first new forward beams are going to be put on. This is also very cool because here the beam shelf and the shear plank has been made. So actually when this is on, we can start putting the deck on top of this. So that's really cool.
cao đây. Nó tuyệt rồi, rất tuyệt thì.
Uma bênção, raios do luar. Lei e feifa, reino dos orixás, reino dos orixás. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré, lê, lê. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré, lê, lê. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré. O dia nasceu, arco-íris dentro das lágrimas. Tudo foi feito de amor, o céu, a terra em paz. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré, lê, lê. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré, lê, lê. Oxu maré, lê, 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 maré. Oxu maré.
So now all these beams are in already. There's two more missing here that will go across the whole deck. There's one that starts to go more forward. And one of the most important ones is the one that's gonna go from that frame to the one on the other side, which is actually gonna hold up the whole housing area, the casaria. So this one, what this beam also does, it's gonna help together with these to hold the mast up. So two more full beams remaining, one there and one there. Then there's only going to be little parts of beams that are going to go across until we reach the engine room again.
Another normal day at the river, except there is this huge ship coming. We never saw anything this big here. Look at this.